afternoon there, and welcome to Crafters TV. I'm Debbie Fisher, and you're in crafting. Oh, crafting. Colour Me Happy was what I meant to say, and I started with crafting. We're going to be crafting in Colour Me Happy. That's the one, yes. It's going to be a super hour. If you've got any questions, we're fully sociable, so make sure that you send us your messages in. We've got Chloe in social, so she'll be sending your messages through to the studio. Of course, I'm not on my own in the studio. We have the lovely Craig, and you're going to be showing us some watercolours, I believe, today.
I am. We're going to then just really bring it right back to the basics when it comes to the way that you colour with them. We're going to have a look at our tri-blend brush Aqua pens, then we're going to have a look at our Aqua pens, and then we're going to have a look at some of our sparkle pens as well. We're going to do a little bit of colouring, changing the way that we colour each one and changing the form of how we colour with each one as well. So we're going to step you through that between the next hour when it comes to our Colour Me Happy. First one we'll use our water brush and paintbrush. The next one we'll use our actual ball going to start that one again. The first one we're going to use our water brush and water. Then the next one we're going to be having a look at is when it comes to our actual paint brush. And then the third one we're just actually going to use the actual sparkle pen in the original form. So we're going to be doing that one. So all three of these we're going to be having a look. Watercolour card as a basis, water-based ink pad as a basis. The whole point of these ones is showing you. So I'll have them all pre-stamped. We'll do a little bit of colour and blend and show you how you can get a lovely effect.
I love Tricolour Aquas. These are beautiful pens to use, and Craig's going to show them all of what they do and some different techniques. I have the pen sets here. We've got 4 different packs with 3 pens in each, but each pen colour has 3 different colours, which is quite incredible. So you'll be getting all of those. They're amazing. Now, let me just show you some of the boards on the colours of what you're getting in there, because these pens are beautiful in all their transition of colours. So you can see here our first board is our Great Outdoors, then we've got our Floral Meadow, and then we've got our Colour Basics, and then we've got our Essentials. So all of those ones come in here. So we're going to have a look now and see what Craig has in store.
I am indeed. So what I'm going to do with this one, Debbie, is I'm going to be using the Colour Basics. So this one is the Aqua, Tricolour Aqua, and it's the Colour Basics. Now I am only going to use one of the pens. However, when it comes to the set, what you have got is 3 different colours within each one. Now with these being Aqua, these means that you can start to blend them with your water, other mediums. You've got these colours that are going to complement each other. So we're going to use this one. You've got your rose red, you've got your daffodil, and you've got your azure blue. All 3 of these ones will complement each other in how you start to colour. Blend them together, you can get a strong colour, you can water it down to get more of a subtle pastel tones, but you have got 3 colours in each pen that will work perfectly together. Now when it comes to this one, I am actually only going to use the rose red, and we'll start to blend that colour out, but the key thing is water-based, so therefore you can create a multitude of blends when it comes to the actual colouring source. So what I have already done, anything that is water-based, it's always key to stamp onto our watercolour card. And this stamp I've gone in, this is from a Nature Garden collection at Crafter's Companion, which is from the Hummingbird. Now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to use my glass mat. You can use a craft mat, you can use a tile, you can use a dinner plate, a non-porous surface for you to pick up colour from. You can, of course, if you want to, you can go direct in and pull the colour out. I do prefer going onto my glass mat, craft mat, non-porous mat first, and then add that colour. So for this one, I'm going to use my paintbrush, and I've got just some water, tap water out of the tap. And what I like to do first and foremost is I've popped a little bit of water onto my brush. Don't want it to be soaking. I'm just dabbing a little bit off onto a bit of kitchen roll. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply that water onto my watercolour card. Now it's key as well you use the ink pad you need to use for water base, so I've gone in with waterproof ink pad. This is a Noir black. You're going to get no blending of that black line. And then when it comes to the ink, I'm going to pick it up. Now this is where you can then start to dilute it and you can get more of a subtler pastel tone. So the lighter you go down, the more shades you've got. But I am going to go in quite heavy into that basis of the petal. And I'm only adding a little bit. And then what I'm going to do once again is I'm just going to take that excess ink off of my paintbrush. I'm going to dab a little bit of the excess water off. And then what I'm starting to do is I'm going to start to blend that out into the rest of that petal. Because it is, of course, water-based, it means you can then start to blend, pull all that colour out. If you want to go back in, pick a little bit more and start to go in a little bit more heavier-handed with the inks, you can do. You can also go in and add more depth. What I would say is let that initial layer dry off. If you were to go in straight in with a heavy colour, because you've got water there, it's just going to expand and potentially go out the line. So I'm just going to let that little bit settle for a moment. What I can then do, once again, I can go in, wet my cardstock when it comes to the petal. I'm going to pick up a little bit of that rose red and I'm going to go in into the basis of that petal. And then what I can then do is go in once again, dabbing some of that excess off, but then I can go in and start to blend all of that out so we can then get that lovely bend, that darkness from the base of the petal, and then you can get lighter. What I can then do if I wanted to go back to this one, this has had enough time now to dry, so if I wanted to go in and add extra highlights, I absolutely could do, but the key thing is I could still go in and blend that little bit with my water if you want to, but you could carry on going all the way around your flower and start to blend all of that together. What I am going to do for the sake of this shot is just take all that excess ink away, but if you do that all the way around, exactly that same form, what you're left with is that most beautiful, but that gradient of colour that you can see here. So that's how you would start to apply it in the way that I've done. That's one colour. You can mix and blend if you want to, but that's how you could use your tricolour aqua pens.
Such a nice way to be able to have that lay down a colour, which is incredible. And these are the types of cards that you're going to be able to make with them, which are absolutely beautiful. If you love your watercolours, you will love these tricolour pens. Right, let's have a look and see who's with us today. So Val is in, Mary's in, Carol's in, Eleanor, Zoe, Eve saying making pancakes. Oh, that's making me feel like I could eat some pancakes. And do you know what's funny about that is I only ever eat pancakes on Pancake Day. I don't eat them all year round. Isn't that funny?
I don't eat them a lot either, actually, now you mention it.
Pancakes, yes. And she's watching on her iPad from foggy and chilly Kansas. Zoe's saying afternoon from West Sussex, just started snowing here. Glad Colour Me Happy is back. Eleanor's saying hi to everybody. Carol's saying good morning, so excited for that Colour Me Happy is back. Mary Reno is saying hello from a chilly Maine. And Val is saying hi Debbie and Craig. Looking forward to the show. I have most Spectrum pens bought out in the last 15 years. I've just finished the last page of my colouring calendar. That's amazing. We haven't done one this year, have we, of the colouring calendar?
No, we've not.
Done one a month over the year. Not sure what to do with them now. Frame them, put them on your wall. If you've got a craft room, Val, they'll be ideal for that, which will be incredible. Did you colour your calendar at all, Craig?
I started, Debbie, and then life got in the way and I never quite got back to it. But although it is, of course, a calendar that you could have used this year, what I am going to do is I'm going to keep the colouring pages, and then I've got something that at night time, if I've got 5 minutes, you know, if I'm watching a bit of TV. So although I won't necessarily be using the calendar itself because it'll be outdated, I do have those images to colour. So that's what I'm going to do.
Oh, that's really good. we're going to be taking a look at some Aqua pens next. Now, these are some of my favourite, super handy to use, and Craig's going to show us just what you would do with these ones.
I am indeed. So I'm going to be using the primary sets here. Now, giving you the primary colours. You do have the 12 here, but what ones I'm going to be using is the gold, I'm going to use the orange, and I'm also going to use the navy. So I'm going to use these three from the primary sets here. So let's move these out the way. And so that you know, I'm going to be using our Bloom with Happiness stamps, and I'm going to use this beautiful full bloom floral. Now, it's key that you do this onto your watercolour card, because it is watercolouring we're doing, and I have used Noir Black waterproof ink pad. So that means I'm not going to get any blending or bleeding from the lines. What I'm going to do with this one here, you can use a paintbrush and water, but what you do get out there as well is an actual water brush. So this says a brush at the base here, but it's got a chamber where you just pop water in there. So if you do have one of these, you can be using that, but then you can go back to just the basis of a paintbrush and water. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my glass mat here. You can use a craft mat or a tile, anything like that. And I'm going to start to lay a little bit of colour down. Now, the star of this one here is I'm going to go in and I'm going to use the orange, and I'm also going to use the gold. The navy is only afterwards to create a little bit of a shadow, but it is these two I'm concentrating and focusing on. So what I'm going to do here, I'm just going to make sure that my water is flowing nicely, which it is. I know you can't quite see it, but it's flowing nicely. And then I'm going to go in and I'm going to lay a little bit of the water onto my cardstock here. You can go in direct if you so wish. I do prefer to go in with a little bit of colour first, and then I like to just get that starting to flow, and then I'm just dabbing any excess off. If you want to use a bit of kitchen roll or towel, you can do a dab a little bit excess, but all that I'm going to do now is I'm going to go in and I'm just going to pull that colour out. So I'm going to blend that in. So I'm starting off with that darker shade within the inside of that petal and blending it out. Now, I am wanting to come in with a little bit of orange. If I go direct at the moment, because it's still a little bit wet, what will happen is it will just potentially expand all that orange out, and I want to keep it in a distinctive place. So what I'm going to do at the moment is, while that just dries at room temperature, you can heat set it if you want, but I'm going to let it do its thing naturally. I'm going to go into the next petal, and then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add that colour in, adding a little bit of water first, letting that colour go in, sit in. If I wanted to go in with a little bit extra depth of colour at the moment, I can, but then what I can do, dab a little bit of that excess colour off of my kitchen roll, and then what I'm going to do is just start to pull it out, blend it out, so you've got that darkness that you can see here. But what I do want to do is I'm going to go in with just a little bit of that orange, and then I'm just going to add that just into that basis as well. I'm just going to dab any of that excess orange off at the moment, and then what I can start to do is just blend that out where I would think there would be that extra shadow. I'm going to go in. If you want to add a little bit more along there, you can do. And then what you can also do, where you have any highlight lines, you can always go in, add that extra highlight with the orange, blend that out, so blending it all in together. And then that is how, when it comes to a floral petal, I would follow that suit for every single petal. So let's show you again when it comes to this one here. Just picking up a little at a time. You can always go in and you can add. And it's very forgiving with your watercolours, because if you do find it's a little bit heavier in some areas, blend it out. Go in with your water brush or your paintbrush if you are using it, blending it out. Go in, add a little bit. But if you only wanted to use that one pen, you can still do that with only the gold, but draw it out so it's nice and light, and then go in with a heavier element of the gold. So we can see that you can start to build that up. Now, once again, you can still go back if you wanted to and add a little bit more depth. And that's the very, very good thing as well. So you can just add that little bit more. And then what I would do is, if I want to create a natural kind of drop to the floral, I would go in, add a tiny little bit of water. I'm going to go in with this navy. I'm really, really watering this down. Very quickly going to go around. What I'm going to do is dab that excess off, and then once again, I'm just going to pull, and I'm really just giving it a wee scribble all the way around, so it creates a very light, natural shadow that you can see here. But once you've gone all the way around, you'll be left with something that looks like that, and that's doing each petal individual, working on each one, blend it, adding that extra highlight, and that's a really nice and simple way to create your flower.
Such a beautiful way to have that lay down of colour. Our Spectrum Aquas come in our floral, our essential, our nature and our primary colours, and you're going to be able to do the most amazing things with them. You'll absolutely enjoy these Spectrum Aqua pens. Let's pop those ones to the side. Any questions today? You've all been a bit quiet, so if you've got any questions about the colouring, I know it's mindful, but don't go asleep. You know, you've got to stay awake and watch us throughout the day. Everyone is loving the colouring. Jamie's saying nice colouring, Craig.
Thank you.
How fast do the colour dry on the glass mat? Is from Minette.
That's a really, really good question. Really, it's a non-porous surface, so they're going to sit there until you activate them. Yeah. It's not as if it's, you know, if it's something like it's an alcohol-based. Water-based, that colour, it's got nothing to dry into, so it's just going to sit there until you paint with it, if you do backgrounds with it. So if it is something that maybe you've put a little bit too much on and you don't want to waste it, I would maybe suggest a little craft mat so you can move it. Alternatively, I know I've just been wiping it up, but at home, I would spritz it with water, create backgrounds, anything like that, so I'm avoiding the waste. But glass mat, craft mat, plate, anything that's a non-porous surface, water-based ink, it will just sit there until you do something with it.
Oh, good tip there. So I don't think there's any more questions. Just people saying hello. Sylvia's saying, hi everyone, watching on my tablet while I make a sausage baguette for Mr. Sleepyhead in the cold, foggy London. Oh, so I have to tell you a secret. I went to a little baker's place this morning.
Greg's?
And asked for a, yes. Yeah, it wasn't delicate, it was Greg's. It was Greg's. I was trying to make it sound like it was a really posh little place down the road. Asked for a sausage baguette and they didn't have their delivery of sausages.
They didn't?
Oh, Charlotte's going, yeah, did you ask? Yeah, no delivery. Oh, I didn't see you, Charlotte.
She was in the queue behind me.
Yes, I bought cake actually. Did I tell you all? I bought you all cakes today. Yeah, I bought yummies. Are they yummies?
Yums.
Yeah.
I went to that same place after we finished starter skills.
Oh, there you go. See what, Greg's?
Yeah, not that nice delicatessen.
But no sausage baguettes. Have you tried our sparkle pens? These are amazing. We've got 5 packs here in all different colours, and you can use these in so many different ways. Our Craig is going to show us just exactly how they can be used.
I absolutely am. I'm going to use, for these ones, our glitter brush pens. These are the Essential Brights that I'm going to use. What I'm also going to use, though, is one of the clear overlay. Now, this is packed with sparkle in a liquid basis, but what this is a good alternative for is instead of a paintbrush in water or a water brush, this is a nice way to blend out colour but still get sparkle. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make it really sparkle. I'm going to start to colour and blend out with the sparkle. So you will see in a moment. What I have done is using this stamp set, Hello Lovely, I have stamped out my floral onto a piece of watercolour card. Because although it's sparkle, it's still water-based. So it's watercolour card, and I've done this with my waterproof Noir Black. And then what I'm going to do is let's bring in my sparkle pens. So if I bring these, what you will find is when you get them, they have all got this little yellow band around there. So you want to just unscrew, take that yellow band off, make sure it's had a really good shake, and then that will start to activate it. You're just going to do a light press. This will start to activate it. But these are all good to go. So what I'm going to do is I can either go in direct on and get the most incredible coverage and flow of sparkle, but what you do have is a full-on sparkle look. So if I leave it just for a second, and then I'm going to lightly tilt that back and forwards just to get that sparkle. It'll be even more intense once it's dried, still a little bit damp, but you can see the sparkle starting to come through. So you can lay it on flat. But what I do like to do is go in, and I still like to go in and add a little bit at the base. Now you can come in with a water brush and water and pull that out, and you'll still get incredible sparkle, but why not do a two-tone sparkle? Go in, so we've got our yellow, which is actually called Firefly, and I'm going in with my clear sparkle overlay, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in, and what I've already laid down, I'm going to start to blend out. So I'm going to go in, and then I'm going to add more sparkle. So this is going to be really, really sparkly, but what it's also going to be is it's going to have a blend to it. You can still, if you want to, you can still use your glass mat, craft mat as a palette so you can pick up. So there's lots of ways that you can apply it. So if you did want to go in and add a subtle bit more, you can do. So once again, let's do it the way I've done that a moment ago. I'm just going to go in once again. I'm just going to add a little bit of that Firefly to the base. I'm going to go in with my clear sparkle overlay. I'm going to drag that out. So even although we've got that jam-packed full of sparkle, you can still start to blend with it, so you can get a nice roundness. But with it being water-based, what you can do is you can also blend and create different colours. So just with this brights alone, I've gone in with a little bit of that Firefly. I'm going in with the blue peacock. I'm just adding that little bit. And still with my overlay, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start to bring some together. And what I want to do is I want to make my own green. So once I'm happy with the tone of green that I've got, what I can then start to do is go in into the leaves, start to pull it out, and once again, if I want to dab that excess off, blend the rest. So even though you're creating your own colour, you can still blend it all the way out. So you've got different tones, working it together. So when it comes to that one, what I would do, the same way, I would blend out all these petals, leave that to dry naturally, come in, and once you've finished, you've got this full-on, incredible design that's packed with sparkle. You've not lost anything, even although you have blended it out. You've blended it with a clear sparkle overlay, and that's just a couple of ways within one image in how you can start to blend and apply the sparkle pens.
Such a lovely way to use sparkle. Now, if you're like me and you just love a bit of sparkle, you're going to love these pens so much to be able to put these down onto your cardstock. Mix them as Craig did. Having those clear ones is absolutely amazing. You're going to be able to paint directly onto all sorts of stamps that you've got in your stash. Create beautiful backgrounds or directly to the actual whatever you're colouring in. But I love being able to have that colour wash using with your die cuts as well. They look absolutely exceptional, and you've got all these different colours in here, but like Craig has just shown us, using those clear ones with all those different darker colours are just going to give you a completely different hue to the actual colours themselves. So if you love a bit of sparkle, these are our Aqua sparkle pens. Right, let's see who's on with us. So, everyone's jumping on the Yum Yum bandwagon. Yes, we've got Anne-Marie. Yeah, Yum Yums. I love Yum Yums. Everyone loves Yum Yums. They're very addictive. Zoe is saying the sparkle pens there's so much sparkle in them, and they really look like they do on the screen. I love this technique with the sparkle pens. It elevates the card. Miriam is saying, and Tony Marie is saying, I think I definitely need to get these sparkle pens. You absolutely do. And actually, Craig, I think we think about sparkle pens as in more for Christmas and using them, but actually our sparkle pens have been around a long time, and we use them throughout the year, don't we? They're just amazing.
We really, really do. You know, just as core colours with each pen, so versatile, and whether, of course, it's clothing, whether it's flowers, whether it is nature, they're lovely to use, but because you can still blend them out. So whether you use them in that core form that they are, whether you blend them out, even if you blend them out with just a water brush, you still get that most incredible sparkle as well, and that's what it's all about, hence the name. But they are such a fun one to have and to use, and so many of us have used them for years.
Yeah, absolutely. Dorothy's got a question, Craig. She's from Texas. Hello, Dorothy. She's saying, what's the best way to store the sparkle pens and the glitter pens?
So good question. Anything, any pen way, what we would always say, store them on their side so that the ink is set nicely. So it doesn't matter whether it's alcohol pens, water-based pens, whether it's glue pens or sparkle pens, if you leave them stored on their side, hence why we have trays out there that's going to hold them. If you've got any of our trays for our classic pens, illustrators, sparkle pens will fit on them as well. It's just to do with the positioning. It's not going to bung up the chamber or that by having them on their side. You know, I know many might still have them upright in a pot while they're using them. That's absolutely fine. But when you're not using them, we'd always recommend all pen form just to actually have on their side. You know, you're going to be able to pick them up. Sparkle pens, always give a bit of a shake and then you're good to go.
Lovely, thank you, Craig. And just one more question before we just take a little short break. Paula's asking, what can she use these pens on? Can she use them on regular cardstock?
So yeah, really good question. Now we will always say here on Crafters TV as well, Nina cardstock is perfect, the absolute must for alcohol colouring, and anything water-based is going to be good for your watercolour card. However, if we focus on sparkle pen, nothing stops you whatsoever from adding them onto your background papers. Maybe you've done some alcohol colouring and you want to go over with a clear sparkle overlay. Maybe you've got a pastel tone, you want to go over your alcohol pen with that little pastel tone of sparkle pen. You absolutely can. To get a really lovely blend of your sparkle, water-based sparkle pen, your watercolour card is going to be that perfect one. But yeah, toppers, die cuts, matte cardstock, pattern papers, you can absolutely go on top of any of these, anything that is a pore surface with your sparkle pens.
Amazing. And to answer your question, who's asking what a Yum Yum is, it's basically a twisted donut that's covered in unseen amounts of sugar, which is very nice. Now, do you want to join a club? Do you want to join the best club that I think there is around? Do you want to join the club for free? Well, then have a look at this and you'll see what our Club Inspire is all about.
Welcome to Club Inspire, the crafters' companion community where you can feed your crafty obsession. Join our fantastic loyalty club today and receive 20% off your first order. We'll also give you 250 points to help get you started. Other benefits of joining Club Inspire include exclusive special offers and discounts for Club Inspire members only, exclusive sneak peek previews of brand new product launches, and of course the Club Inspire community group on Facebook, where you can access exclusive content such as downloads, offers and inspiration, and of course you can chat and share your makes with other members. You'll receive 1 point for every £1, dollar or euro you spend, and the more points you receive, the more benefits you'll unlock. So what are you waiting for? Sign up, join the club and start rewarding yourself today.
Here Here at Crafters TV, it couldn't be easier to get your hands on the latest crafty must-haves. Leave the hard work to us while you shop from the comforts of your own living room. Head to the Crafters Companion website to see our full crafty range, or hit the Shop the Day button to see all the new and exciting products featuring on Crafters TV. Once you've filled your cart, leave it to us to get your crafty goodies to you in super quick time, so you can get on with being creative. Crafters Companion, making crafty shopping a breeze. Welcome to Crafters TV. With more than 35 hours of live shows each week, it's your home for all things craft. So, join our family of craft experts with live tutorials and demonstrations every day. We shine the spotlight on new and innovative crafting products here on Crafters TV. Get creative and craft along with our amazing deals. Your next craft project is only a click away. Tune in live 7 days a week or watch on catch up at crafterscompanion.com, Facebook or our YouTube channel. You can chat to us, craft along and meet new friends in our online crafting community.
You entertain us, you give us a community to talk, in the chat. That wouldn't happen without you guys. It's like Crafters Companion is magical. There's magic here.
You're all out time with each other! You're not through to boot camp. Get off!
There's a show for every type of crafter, from first-time dabblers to full-time makers. So, stop what you're doing and enjoy the fun here on Crafters TV.
I mean, really, who cannot click in time? It's the boys, it's the boys. It does make me laugh. I love our little videos. They're always so much fun. I was just saying to Craig, the one with him and Ben in the warehouse, they must have had an absolute hoot that day filming in there because it just looks amazing. Right, we're going to have another look at our sparkle pens. These are really gorgeous pens. We've had them out many years now. The technology in these is so clever because I've never had a pen that clogs. The flow is just amazing. It's really microscopic glitter inside these pens, which is quite incredible. And to think you get all these colours, but I have to say these two packs have to be my favourite. Craig was using these, which are our clear marker. You're getting 3 clear ones, and you're probably thinking, why do I need the clear? But the clear do so much more, whether it's you wanting to go over your alcohol colouring, whether you want to use with your other aqua paints and make them sparkly. There's just so many things you can do with them. And then these colours are just lovely. Adding a black to any of the other colours completely changes up that saturation of colour that you're getting, which is incredible. And then what we can do with them is create stunning backgrounds. We're going to go over to Craig in a minute and he's going to show us some of his backgrounds. You can literally die cut your backgrounds. So if you're doing them, look at the sparkle that you're getting on there. Absolutely amazing. Use your die cuts on top of them, which is really effective, or just go straight in and have that sparkle on your flowers. The choice that what you can do with these pens is absolutely incredible. And yes, of course, for Christmas, they're going to be amazing to, if you're good with writing, you could always write your message with them as well, your name, sign your name with them, or even your envelopes or something like that would be really nice. Just let them dry because they are water-based. But we're going to go across to Craig and see exactly what else he's got to show us.
Yeah, well, because I thought, let's go back and have a proper look, as Debbie was saying, at those 3 collections we looked at. I thought the first one, let's have a look at the sparkle. And we've got some of our sunflower cardstock, our paper at the side of me. So I thought, perfect way to show you how, if you, let's say for instance, our clear sparkle overlay, if you're wanting to start to add sparkle onto that. If you just seen what I'd done not that long ago with these, if you find that you've still got a little bit excess colour on your sparkle brush, don't worry, either colour it off onto your glass mat or just a little bit on the kitchen roll. I try and avoid that because I don't want to waste it. Even if there's a bit of colour, you could be using it. But it's just taking that excess off. Sometimes, depending on the colour you've used, keeping in mind it's water-based, it may stain it slightly, but it's not going to affect any future colouring, so don't worry about that. But you can literally come in onto your background papers, So you can go in and then you can add the clear sparkle. So at first, it doesn't look like that you're doing much to it. And then you can cherry pick sections. So if you only want to go into the base of the petals, or the sunflower, you can do, or if you want to colour the whole lot, you absolutely can do it as well. But as you were saying, Debbie, for clear sparkle overlays, to be able to go over a variety of different things, including an alcohol coloured image, just to make that stand out even more, such a really good thing to do.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you're doing, spot glitter onto your papers, I think is an absolutely amazing idea, Craig, because it just adds something a little bit more special, doesn't it?
It does, and when it dries, it doesn't have that chunky bound to it like your glue and glitter would have, which some of the times that's absolutely fine. It's adding extra texture to the card. But sometimes you don't want that. Maybe the recipient doesn't like the feel or like the look of the glitter, whereas this is giving you glitter, but it'll be completely smooth. So we've done around there. So I'm going to see if I can...
It's a softer focus, isn't it? And it's so pretty. So I think we're just about picking that up on screen. But if you can't, once it dries, the glitter on there is amazing. And I think any time that you sort of have something and you move it, you think, oh, there's a bit of sparkle in that. It's that add-in enhancement of whatever you're putting them onto, which I love.
That's the thing, yeah. And I know usually as well, because we are short for time, so wanted to show you that how it is there. But when we say let it dry, literally within a few minutes, that's going to be dry enough for you to really see that sparkle. You could heat set it if you want, where better. I always think it's better to leave it to dry at room temperature. So whether that is round the sunflower, maybe you are picking up tiny little details, maybe you want to incorporate it with other water-based items, then you can do as well. It's great for creating that little pinpoint of your glitter, kind of embellishment of your paper pad, but you can start to use it as a sparkle water pen, not just a sparkle clear overlay. So I thought that way in the simplest form. And then just very quickly as well, although these are your yellows and oranges, if I take the Firefly, because this was the basics that I had, you can, if you want to, you can still go in and add extra colour with your coloured sparkles. So it's not as if you can only do it with a clear sparkle overlay. You can still go in, colour the whole lot, and you can still do a little bit of blending. Although it's not actual watercolour card, it is forgiven in a way where you can start to add sparkle into tiny little bits. You can add really big coverage of sparkle if you want, but going into there, we can kind of see that just a little bit better there when it comes to the dried element. Can see there. So cherry pick sections, colour your die cuts, do your backgrounds, cut them out, but I thought at least in the basis of your sparkle pen, it's a good way to show you how you can use it in with your background papers.
Yeah, absolutely. And what I love about that, Craig, because actually what I'd never not thought of to do before, I've always used the clear glitter markers or clear sparkle. I've never put the colours on top of them. And actually, like you say, it just enhances.
It
so
does.
even another yellow on top of that yellow, you're going to get that real vivid sparkle and that yellow on top as well, which is amazing. Tony Marie's with us this afternoon, and she's saying her and her daughter have made a few cards with the supplies that they've got just recently, and they've now made 7 cards so far, so that's amazing. Linda's saying hello from Tennessee. Jamie's in today, Paula's in, Anne's in, LJ Crafts is in. She's saying that she's never heard of Yum Yums until we're still talking about food, until she started working in Richmond, North Yorkshire, and they were nearly a staple diet. Not really a good for the diet, are they? But they're nice for a treat anyway. So. But let us know what you're up to today. Let us know what goodies you're eating. It does seem to be a bit about food chat. Do you know what I think it is, Craig? I think it's a comfort thing when it's cold, isn't it? When you're cold, you head for all that goodness, don't you? And well, it's not goodness. Goodies, I should say, not goodness. Hot chocolates and things like that.
And then this time of the year, the shop is filled with the most luxurious and lovely and tasteful sort of foods that are out there. So between Christmas time, build up to Christmas time, as Debbie was saying as well, it's that comfort aspect. Sometimes it's just a weekend aspect. Sometimes the weekend, the Sunday, is when you relax and you just think, do you know what, I'm treating myself today. I'm going to watch Crafters TV, watch a couple of Christmas films. I'm going to just, yeah, have some, maybe not necessarily goodness, but goodies.
All about goodies, isn't it? So, right now, I've got some of the Aqua pens. Now, I love these. I think they're great because they have a dual marker. They have that really tiny tip for precision. And if you're an illustrator, you will absolutely love drawing with these and then spritzing with a bit of water. If you are someone that loves to draw, just loves to colour, the brush marker on these Aquas is incredible. You're getting, there's 4 different sets that we have, which is your essentials, your florals, your primaries and your nature. So you've got something for everyone. And each pack offers those array of colours in that theme. So you can see here, absolutely beautiful, all our florals. And then with this one, which is our essentials, this is going to be a great one. If I turn that around, you can see all the colours there. Just a really good one to enhance all whatever you're colouring and to add all that shading and darkness. And again, mixing with different colours to create different backgrounds. Now, I love the fact that if you're a stamper and you want to watercolour, grab some watercolour cardstock. You will find it on our website. Literally some stamps, and you can create the most amazing scenery. If you just love colouring your images, look at this one. I mean, absolutely incredible. Backgrounds are another thing that you can do quite easily. So painting your poppies here, but then having that sort of splodgy effect background, and that is just diluting, like Craig was showing us earlier, painting onto your mat and then just using water to create that beautiful background, which is incredible. And I love the fact this one here is done with a stencil and then painted it, and everything looks and works really well together. So there is a colour pen for everybody in this colour family on our Spectrum Aquas, which is amazing. I believe you've got some bits to show us as well, Craig, on these.
I do, yeah, and I have literally in the last 10 seconds changed my mind on what I was about to show you, because I was going to do a background with these, and then if we have time we'll do a background with the Tri-Blush Aqua pens. But then I thought, actually, with these ones, let's show you one of my most favourite techniques when it comes to anything water-based. Love doing it with the Aqua pens. Maybe you love colour and you love stamps, but you're not necessarily comfortable with doing watercolouring or any watercolouring in any form. So let's do what I love doing. For this, your large stamping platform is absolutely going to be your best friend for this technique here. Doesn't have to be ours, as long as it's got a base where your cardstock stays in the exact same place and then your stamp will stay in the exact same place. So I'm going to go back to the Bloom with Happiness that we can see here. Everything, what I've tried to make sure, Debbie, is everything that I've been using, apart from the water brush, are available on our website.
Fabulous.
Water brushes are out of stock, but everything else I've been using, yes, the pens, the stamps, the cardstock, it is all available in the website. So what I'm going to do, just as I normally do, cards down, inks down here. So I'm going to go in, make sure that I've got my water spritz tool here. I've got our new heat gun as well. And then I'm going to make sure I've got my waterproof ink pad to hand. And let's go in still with the primary, because this is what I had. And I'm going to go in with the magenta. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to colour over my stamp here. And I'm not worried about getting onto my platform or getting into all the little bits of this stamp. I want that colour down, and I'm wanting it on the actual stamp itself, and I'm using that flexible brush nib on that side. I'm going to go in with my spritz tool. I'm going to spritz a little bit of water on my card, do a little spritz, and then a little spritz onto my stamp, and then I'm going to press that into place. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove it. And at first, it looks like it's a little bit of a mess. Now, at this point, don't move your cardstock and don't move your stamp. So I'm going to set that to the side for a second. What I would do is, at home, I would just go in, take more cardstock and just do second, third generation stamps, not to waste it, create backgrounds and use it elsewhere within your project. But what I am going to do is let's dab off that excess ink at the moment. Once again, I'm not moving my stamp, but what I am going to do is come back, and I'm going to go on the first setting first. Because we're starting to get that explosion, if I go in with the full on heat setting number 2, any excess water sitting there could potentially burst out even more. Now that does look nice, but I don't want that to happen. So I'm going to go on setting 1 first, just to settle the ink that's there. And then once I've done it for a few moments, and just off camera, I'm just patting my hand with the kitchen towel on the stamp. So what I am doing...
There's quite a skill doing that. Patting and blowing.
Then I'm just going to go up now. And I would spend a few more moments earlier on when I was saying to leave things to dry at room temperature. You know, you can do that, of course, but this technique, I always want to dive straight in. So let's go in here, and then I think that would be dry enough. So let's bring this back in. Now this is what I was meaning about how not everyone is comfortable with colouring, or they don't want colouring, and they still want to add some colour. So I'm just stamping that excess off again, that we can see here. And then what I'm going to do, Debbie, is because my stamp and my background's in that same bit, I'm going to go in.
Sorry.
No.
I'm trying really hard not to laugh.
I've tried
dear.
myself. Just can't help it.
Oh, this looks good.
So then we can go in. Now you can do this with your sparkle pen, you can do it with your water reactive ink pads if you want to. You can do it with any stamp that you've got. Going in with the black waterproof. And to be honest as well, the waterproof isn't really that essential because I'm not going to add any additional colour. But if I then remove that out the way, we're left with kind of a very rustic,
Oh, I love that.
coloured floral.
Yeah.
Now, as I say, you could do that with any stamp. So we'll have a look just close up just in a second that we can see here. So if you do want that rustic colour, and what's happened is because we've spritzed that magenta and we've popped it onto the card, that explosion, it still follows within the line of the stamp, but it has that explosion look. And then what's happening is your outline of your black, or it could be any dark colour, that's picking it out, and it's just giving a really, really cool effect.
It is so clever, that technique, and it looks so effective, and every time you'll get something different.
Yes.
And that looks so beautiful, Craig. I absolutely love that. Yeah, it's something that's a wow demo for me every single time. And it's funny, isn't it? There's certain things that you just never tire of seeing, and that is such a clever technique. I think for the start, just being able to stamp with them,
Exactly.
with the pens, is quite amazing. I'm just going to show you. I have some boards. No, I don't. Oh, I do. I have this board here. This is a stamping. Yes. Let's have a look at this board here. This is the one. So this gives us all differences of what you can do with them. And actually, this really is just a small handful of what you can do with them. Being able to stamp with them, creating those backgrounds. I love this middle one. That's using a salt technique, which is very clever. Doing these different stamping here. So just creating your stamp and then pulling out your colour with that stamp as well is just another really great way of using them. And remember, those pens, the actual Aquas, you can use alongside with your sparkle pens. Your clear sparkle pens will make all of those coloured sparkle pens into sparkle pens, or those colour Aqua pens into sparkle pens. So much you can do with them. And honestly, look for Colour Me Happies on YouTube, on Facebook, and you'll see so many different variations of what we do on a colouring medium. And that covers everything from our ink pads to our metallic range to our watercolour, to our sparkle, to our alcohol, everything, which is amazing. Right, so yes, so we've got a few comments, just people saying hi, and Gilmore's saying that's an abstract work of art. Betty's saying she loves that rose, Craig, and Mary Reno is saying she loves the look of this flower. Yeah, I couldn't agree more, it's absolutely perfect. Okay, so talking about aquas, these sort of come from the idea of our aqua pens, but into that 3-pen system like we do with our alcohol colouring, but these are all water-based. So these are beautiful colours that all blend well together. Now what I love about them is the team, Leanne and the team, have put these colours together with thinking that you can blend each one of these pens into each other. So if I just bring my charts into place here. So all these 3 colours, so if we look at this first board with our essential neutrals, all these colours here will blend effortlessly into each other, which are absolutely amazing. So we've got our neutrals, our earthy neutrals, our rich neutrals, and our grey neutrals as well. And they're just going to be amazing. So to think this board is 1 pen. I mean, that's quite amazing, isn't it? This is 3 pens, 1 pack of pen. So 1 pack of pens, but all those colours, which is amazing. So 1 pen, 1 pen, 1 pen, and getting all those different colours is quite amazing. Now, because they're water-based, it means that we don't have to have the same colour family in those pens either. So we know that all these colours are going to work really well together. We see Craig using that blue and that yellow earlier to create that green ombre. So all these different colours are going to be incredible to use. We've then got our floral meadow, and we've also got our great outdoors as well. So anyone that wants to do those scenic, those seas, the landscapes, anything like that, you're going to have a colour in there for everything. And Craig, you've got something to show us with the tricolours.
Yeah, well, look, this time let's do a background, because although within each pen, as Debbie was saying, the 3 colours work and complement each other perfectly. Now, yes, that's great when you are colouring specific images, but the 3 of them work well together, or 2 together, or these 2 together, or that one and that one. They all work together even when you're doing backgrounds. So what I'm away to do, you can do with the aqua pens, you can do with the sparkle pens, but what I'm going to do with this one is, we'll go with the primary, let's go in with the amber, alpine green and orchid. So once again, on my glass mat, and I'm going to scribble a fair amount of each of these on, and then I'm going to add them on to here, and then I'm going to go in and I'm going to finish off down here. Now, watercolour card, so anything like this, I would say it is essential. You need to do this on watercolour card. And once again, what I've got is just some water. This is, or it would just be tap water that you've got at home. And my brush isn't soaking, but it's wet enough for me to come and pop a layer of water over. I am just going to add a tiny little bit more that we can see here. And I'm just adding a tiny little bit, so I was just dipping it in lightly into the water, and I'm going to pick it up, and then I'm going to start to go in and add it. Now, if you're just doing 1 pen, Debbie, then as you know, you can keep going and going and going till you get all these different tones. And in actual fact, I could pull that out that little bit more if I wanted to. But what I do want to do, the purpose of the 3 colours together, I want to show how even on backgrounds, not necessarily just stamped images, they work together. So dabbing just a little bit off to start with to see how my ink's going, the colour tone onto my watercolour card. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going back into my water, just going to dab a little bit excess off, and then I can start to blend that into each other. So even that orange into the green, and then I'm just dabbing just a little bit more. I'm going to add it in, and you can still go back if you want to add a little bit more depth of green. Let's go in. What I would say as well is don't pop your pen into the water. You don't want any of that water to be soaked up into the nib. So pop it into a dry area on your glass mat or craft mat. And then we'll go in there, so like I say, we can just add more depth. Once again, if I kept going down and down and down, you're going to get it in a lot of different variations of the colour tone. Just dab some of that water off because I want to blend that into each other again. We can see here. And then what we can then do once again, is let's go into our purple, our orchid, dab some of the excess off to start with. I'm going to add that on. I'm just going to go into my water once again. I'm going to start to blend that into each other. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of dry it off just at the side. Doesn't need to be kitchen towel. I'm just going to go back. And I will just take a bit of kitchen towel because I don't want any of that purple on my orange just yet. And then play. Go in. I'm going in with more of the pastel tones of the colour. Now, you wouldn't necessarily think I'm going to go in with pastel from these three colours. Gone bright orange, bright green, bright purple, and I've gone more for the subtle pastel tones. But then what we can do, just going in, if you wanted it to be a little bit more heavier in colour, you can do. If we go in with, let's do another bit of green again. So you can still always go in with depth, blend it out, and then you can come in with your water techniques, your salt techniques. So from three colours that were strong, bold colours, blend them in together, bring them down to more of a pastel tone. They could be even lighter if you want. They could be even heavier if you wanted. And that's because they are water-based, so you're in control the depth of shades that you can have. Remember, this blend you can do with your Aqua, you can do with your sparkles as well if you want, because they're all water-based.
So I was just reading Tony Marie's, Mari is asking about the salt techniques. You just mentioned it. We won't have time, Mari, for Craig to demo it. But honestly, if you go on YouTube, type in Colour Me Happy salt technique, there will be a Colour Me Happy that comes up with that technique in there. Or go on YouTube or Facebook and you'll find lots of different techniques for that. But basically, it's exactly what Craig just did, but he'd make the card a lot more wetter, and then you just sprinkle salt on the top. You're better off using rock salt because it makes bigger sort of crystallized effects on it, but you can use table salt. It just makes all the effect very, very much smaller. But lots of tutorials online for you to go and look at that. Linda is saying she loves her tri-blend markers. Yep, we do as well. Mari's saying Sarah did a scrub bag last night in Aberdeen. Could you please remind me which washable fabric glue she used? We'll have to have a look at that, but I would have thought if you go online, you'll find all our glues on the website and you'll see what our threaders glues are and if they're washable. So just go on there and have a look. Right, so it's been a fast pack. Everyone said they love them today. I love those three colours together, Craig. Yes, so I think we've covered it all. Everyone's really loving the Colour Me Happy. How have we got through an hour? That's just gone so quickly. And Craig, you've just shown us so many different techniques, which have been amazing.
Oh, thank you, Debbie. Yeah, I was just wanting to show them in the key ways that you could, but just exactly as to reiterate what Debbie's just said, our YouTube is where you need to go. You're going to find so much more as well, including that salt technique, including lots of techniques. Have a look there.
Yeah, so many different techniques. And remember, watercolouring is your best friend because it's very forgiving. If you even colour something and you don't like it, just put a bit of water on it, blot it up with some paper towel, and it's all done. Well, thank you for joining us at Colour Me Happy on Crafters TV. I hope you'll join myself and Craig back at 6 p.m. because we're going to be, we've got an amazing Second Chance Sunday today. It's one of my favourite shows because it's a bit of what we all like, bringing it all back in that one show and showing you it. So it's going to be a really fun couple of hours later on. So we will see you then. Have a good afternoon. Bye.